In this particular case, they agreed on everything but the spouse support. He didn't want to pay it, and she wanted it. And if there's even one issue you don't agree on, I can't really help you because I can't draft a settlement agreement. You guys aren't going to sign it. You probably need attorneys. You're definitely going to court for a judge to decide if you don't work it out on your own or through mediation. So I said, well, did she give you a number? And he said, yes, 1,600. And I said, well, how did she come up with this number? Did she make it up? And he says, no, I think she's talking to an attorney, family friend of ours. I said, okay, well, did she show you any proof of the calculation and whatnot? She said, no, she just gave it to me verbally. And so much of what I do when people are looking for help is they just need the information in order to make the decisions. They're just lacking information. They're amicable. They want to work towards an agreement, but they don't have the information. So I told them, hey, why don't I run some numbers for you? I don't normally do this on the consultation, but I mean, really, I can't go any further, but to say, if you don't agree, you need to file the response and, go to court and all that. So I ran the numbers. He gave me his income and his spouse's income, and I ran it, and he gave me two potential incomes for her. So I ran it at one income, and it gave us 1,300, which was lesser than the 1,600. And then I ran it at the higher income that he said it might be, or that it varied, and it came with almost the exact match of the 1,600. I said, oh, well, there's where that number is coming from. She's obviously spoken with someone who has access to the diso master software and ran the calculations. And because I'm getting that exact number, almost to the penny, $1,600. And I said, so let me ask you this. If you know the calculation is coming out to $1,600, now you know where this is coming from. It wasn't just a number she pulled from a hat. Why would you go get an attorney, go to trial, and then end up with the same amount of support? Because there's not a whole lot of, there's a lot of gray area is what I should say in divorce. The spouse support, they run the calculations. This isn't going to be long-term spouse support. I think he was married 5 years. So I told him, you're looking at, general rule, 2.5, half the length of the marriage. And all this information, you guys, please understand, this is not me giving you legal advice. This is readily available information. You can find at your fingertips. Just do a quick Google search on short-term marriage, long-term marriage, how that works out. And I'm able to explain that that's where this information comes from. So now we had two pieces of information and have the number, the $1,600 number was coming from a calculation for support based on their incomes. And number two, the duration of support is going to be for approximately half the length of the marriage. Now, could you go to trial and get an attorney and present all this evidence and try and reduce your income? Sure, that's why people go to court. And let's say that they go through that trial, and because they're able to add in some deductions towards 401k or medical or pension, there's little things we can add in that'll help lessen the amount of support you pay, because there's little deductions that we put into the calculator. Excuse me. So let's say that happens, and they go to court and they go to trial, and he gets $1,500. And I gave him this example. Gets $1,500 in spouse support for the same duration, half the length of the marriage. So what did that save him? It saved him $1,200 a year times 2.5, 12, 24, call it. So what would that be? $30,000. Well, no, $3,000 that he saved. But what if he spent $15,000 on that attorney to get that $100 difference in his spouse support? So I told him, you're likely going to, because I can't give him advice like this. So I said, there's likely going to be spouse support. Will it be $1,600? Maybe, maybe not. But how much are you willing to spend on an attorney to save $3,000? So you're going to lose $12,000 trying to save $3,000. It doesn't make sense to me. So what I told him is, I said, hey, do you trust this family friend who's apparently an attorney and a judge? And he said, yeah. I said, well, why don't you call him or her and say, can you work with both of us and kind of do this on more of a mediated fashion? The calculation you're running, let me give you some additional information on my income. Like here's my pay stub, so you can see what the income changes are, the differences and so forth, so you can get an accurate spouse support calculation, and then decide if that's what the number you want to go on. And hopefully he'll take my advice, because other than that, he's getting an attorney because he doesn't have the information, and probably going to spend more money than it's worth, as is the case most of the time with attorneys.